third out. Let's talk about the Phillies for a minute, because at this very moment, the Phillies right now are, what are they? Are they tied, or do they have? Nope, they have the lead right now overall in the win column. They're 25-11. They're 3 games into first place in the NL East over the Braves. Listen, they're playing great baseball, right?
Yeah.
This is one of these teams that, I think we all kind of expected them to be like, I viewed the Phillies similarly to how I view the Yankees, right? Very like on top of the world when things are going right, and they can look catastrophically bad when it's going wrong, right? It's a very boom or bust kind of team, but it's been way more boom than bust so far this season. They right now, they just took a 4-game sweep. They just completed a 4-game sweep at home against the Giants over the weekend and today. They then have a quick 2-game home series against the Blue Jays. They go at the Marlins. They split a home and away series with the Mets. They play the Nationals. I mean, they could really pile on here. So, Dalton, what do you think? I mean, obviously, I think we already, we all thought that Atlanta and Philly were going to fight for this division earlier on in the preseason, but I mean, the Phillies look really good right now. Where do you see that stacking up? Like we say all the time, it's early, but what do you think right now?
So I think it's worth asking the question, like, are they just as good as the Braves, if not better?
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying that as a reaction to this weekend, but like, if we take stock of these rotations where they stand right now,
Yeah.
like with what Ranger Suarez has been for the Phillies, not just this year, but for quite a while now, like he's a stud. Christopher Sanchez has proved to be a very capable rotation piece for them. And then you look at like Wheeler's doing his thing. Like if Aaron Nola can pitch well, like that's a really good rotation.
Spencer Turnbull has a 1.5
Spencer
ERA.
Turnbull has looked good. But we saw flashes of that with him in Detroit too, right? So like if Philly can like if this is what their rotation is, this is one of the best teams in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Because we know what that lineup can do, right? And the bullpen is actually looking good. I'm not seeing too many holes in the Phillies. Now, I think if things go wrong for them, I think it's going to happen on the pitching side. Like, I think you're going to, I think you might see Christopher Sanchez come crashing down to earth.
Yeah.
You might see Aaron Nola start to get hit around a little bit. Maybe Ranger Suarez loses the strike zone. They don't have a ton of depth if they have an injury to the pitching staff. So, like, there are holes. This is not some, like, perfectly built team. But they're going to be aggressive at the deadline.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's pretty safe to say they're going to be in it. What I think is really fascinating is right now at DraftKings, the Braves are still minus 220 to win that division. Phillies 185. I'm not reaching to bet the Phillies right now because I think you'd be buying high on them, and you always want to buy high, sell low. It goes. But like that also doesn't feel right to me. Like I kind of feel like those odds should be a little tighter at this point.
Yeah.
Based on what we've seen from Philly. I mean, this is a team that's now won 10 out of 11. They just swept the Giants in completely dominant fashion at home. We're starting to see some of that dominance that we see from them in the postseason at home. We're starting to kind of see that in the regular season too.
Yeah.
And now this is a team that they play a struggling Blue Jays team the next couple nights. And then what do they do this weekend? Then they go play the Fish this weekend. Like, I mean,
yeah. Right.
Like,
that's what I was saying before. Is they play the Fish, then they play the Mets, and then they play the Nationals. Like their schedule for the next 2 weeks is pretty soft.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real reason that team can't like I'll put it this way: if Atlanta continues to scuffle, even play like 500 ball for the next 2 weeks, who's to say Philly doesn't open up an 8-game lead?
Yeah, right.
And at that point, we're definitely not looking at Philly plus 185 to win that division. So, no, I think Philadelphia is a real World Series contender. Like, nobody wants to play them in October. Like, we know what that ballpark's like in October. Nobody wants to go in there. You know,
Yeah,
so
the
yeah, I mean,
environment.
it's a really interesting team. One of the more fun teams to watch in baseball right now.
And I think they've been that. I mean, the past couple of years, I mean, the Phillies are always an incredibly fun watch. They really
Yeah,
are. I mean, like I said before, when they get going, they hit the ever loving piss out of the baseball. They
yeah,
just do. I mean, they've got so many boppers in that lineup that it's insane, right? Like, and especially with some of the seasons that some of these guys are having, right? Alec Boehm is off to a great start. Trey Turner is off to a really great start. He just hit the IL, but when he comes back, I'm sure he'll be right as rain. But like, they're going to hit the ever loving piss out of the baseball. They're striking out guys. They are the second best team in baseball in K per nine. They are striking out dudes left and right. They're not even giving up contact, right? Their team ERA, and this was something that we saw as an issue play out just from a consistency standpoint over the past couple of years, where their pitching has been a little bit wishy-washy. They're eighth in the league in ERA, right? They've got a 3.36 team ERA. That's more than respectable for a team that hits as well as they do, right? You know that they are going to score runs. They're averaging 9 hits a game. Like that, this is a team that is legitimately going to pour it on you. So I don't think that it's like, I think that most people, and as much as we thought so highly of the Braves, and I think we still do, but we kind of thought, yeah, the Phillies are going to punch at this division, but at the end of the day, like the Braves are going to, I mean, they're the better baseball team. Like they're going to end up coming out on top, whether you like it or not.
and I
I'm
still
not.
think they will.
Well, hey, listen, and they absolutely could, but I think the surety in that is definitely wavering, at least at this point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I naturally always think of these things as like from a betting perspective, right?
Yeah,
Um, I hope a week from now we've seen like a hot week from the Phillies and a just okay week from the Braves. Because like if this thing, if you can get Atlanta like below minus 170 or minus
yeah,
160 to win that division, like you have to look at betting
right.
because there's so much season left. Like you know, so like again, right? It goes back to the same theme we've had this whole show throughout the last couple weeks, which is like we want to be careful about overreactions. We want to fade them, but
Right. Yeah.
what we're seeing from Philly is not like fake. Like this team's really good.
No, it is
Uh,
good.
so yeah,
It's good. And I think that they're better this year from like early on in the season. This is the best that they've looked in years past, right? Like, I don't know. I don't remember that they've started this good. I mean, they always seem to finish well, but I don't know that they've ever, I shouldn't say ever, but in recent years, I don't think they've started this well. I mean, they're really piling it on early this season.
yeah, and it makes that ballpark that much more electric throughout the summer too,
No
which I do
kidding.
think matters in a place like Philadelphia.
It absolutely does. All those Philly assholes that just they just can't stop it. You guys aren't assholes. I'm just poking fun at you. Just
Mike,
for
you got to be willing to just call people assholes. Just do it.
I'm a peacemaker, Dalton. You know me. But let's take a look real quick at the standing projections from earlier on in the year, just to gain a little bit of perspective here. Last year, obviously, the Braves with 104 and 58 record, Philly at 90 and 72. Pacoda kind of predicted somewhat of a similar lead in the division. Atlanta with a 101 and 61, the Phillies at 85 and 77. And I think at that point, even you and I said I might be a little bit modest for the Phillies, but like, just to give you an idea, like that's what people were thinking, right? Like that is what people thought earlier on in the year. Like, yeah, the Phillies are really good, but they're not close to the Braves. It looks
Yeah,
like they are close to the Braves.
they are. They are. I mean, and maybe we should. I'm thinking we probably shouldn't be as surprised by it as we are, but
Yeah.
yeah, no. I mean, it's interesting. Their win total right now at ESPN bet is all the way up to 95 and a half after a Pagoda projection of 85. I mean, that's as big of a difference as you can get through a month.
Yeah, no kidding.